So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is David Siegfried. I'm joined by my colleague, Viv Dietrich, and we are with the Institute for Broadening Participation, IBP, as we say. Today, we're going to cover some basic broadening participation resources that are easily available to you, and we're going to make 3 recommendations on how to use them. Some of you I know are already familiar with these and other broadening participation resources. So the other thing I'm going to do is ask for some feedback, both on this presentation and going forward as you use these resources through the year. Because we continue to improve and present this information. So we rely on feedback. And we want to make sure it's as relevant and accurate and to the point as it can be. And since there are relatively few of us, I think it's a great opportunity to share information about resources and experiences. That is, the challenges you faced in your efforts to provide support and resources to students from underrepresented groups, and some of your successful strategies that you find are working. And we'll have a chance to do that toward the second part of the presentation. But first, we're going to speak for about 15 minutes. And so in that time, be thinking about what you might want to share with the group. I would like to start with a poll, which has shifted, wait a minute. There we go. We're going to start with a poll just to get some information about who you are and some of your challenges that you face related to broadening of participation. And you should see a poll open on the screen. Did that happen, Carla?
Yep, I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing people answering it. So looks like everybody else is seeing it as well. Pretty
self-explanatory. What kind of students, what kind of engagement do you have with IBP prior to this webinar? And then what kind of challenges do you most frequently face related to broadening participation in your own work? And I have the 2 choices there are the most common ones that we experience. There's a third choice, which is other. And unfortunately, there's not a way in this polling scheme to have a free text entry box there. So if you choose other, just chat into the chat box what your specific challenge, and then we'll cycle back and use that later in our conversation. Yeah, so I'll give you another 30 seconds or something to work on that. And then I'll share I think I can share the results with the group. Okay, great. I'm going to just close the poll, and if you're still working on it, I think you'll have a few seconds to finish up. So a little context about IBP. We've been doing what we're doing since 2003, and our mission as an organization is to increase diversity in the STEM workforce. So I just tried sharing the poll results. Is that coming through, Carla?
How about your participants? Are you able to see the poll results? I can see them, but I'm on a higher level of access.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, so gives you some idea of who's here today. A lot of undergraduate faculty, it looks like. A lot of newcomers who haven't used IBP resources before. That's great. And recruiting seems to be, well, both recruiting and directing folks to programs. So we're going to hit on all that, and I appreciate you answering those poll questions. Great. So for over a decade, we've been increasing access for underrepresented students to STEM funding, educational and professional development opportunities. and also to the resources that help them pursue those opportunities and succeed in their aspirations. Recruitment to STEM fields and retention in STEM fields and careers. That's the summary of our goal, or the focus of our goal. And our activities support students from K-12 through college and grad school to postdoctoral and right into early career. We have resources for all of those groups. On the other side of the equation, we do outreach to faculty and administrators, doing what we can to support their efforts, your efforts, to broaden participation and increase diversity, including your efforts to recruit, retain, and support underrepresented students in STEM. And the basic resources we're going to cover today serve these purposes. So here's a brief overview of what we're going to cover. What we're looking at is a concept map of our presentation today. And we find it's a more useful way to organize information than just a table of contents or a linear representation of what we're going to do. So we're going to look at the Pathways to Science.org website and talk about posting your program there and why you would want to do that. And this has to do with IVP's extensive outreach to underrepresented groups and underserved communities that drive students to these resources and opportunities on our website. We're going to check out the professional development resources that are available for students there that you can tap for your own purposes. And then we're going to look at a few more resources on the site that are specifically for faculty and administrators, and how and why you might find them useful in supporting your own broadening participation efforts. And then lastly, we'll talk a little about IVP's evaluation efforts and how you can help with that. Great. So for our first recommendation, whoops, there we go, post your program to our website. It's easy to get to on pathwaystoscience.org, and this is low-hanging fruit for you. Because IVP staff and regional specialists conduct extensive outreach year-round to underrepresented students, publicizing the opportunities and resources on the site. When you post your program to our website, you benefit from all of the outreach that we do. So pathwaystoscience.org is not just a website that's hanging out there that we rely on search engine results, although we do great in, in search engine ranking. But a lot of what we do in our outreach directly to students is not only tell them about the website, but we demonstrate the website. We say, look, you can come here, and here's what's on our website. So we personally drive a lot of traffic to our website, and that's promoted by our personal extensive outreach. So how extensive is our outreach? We do direct face-to-face outreach at over 50 conferences a year, like ACES, SACNAS, California Forum for Diversity, SHIP, ERN, WEPAN, and the National Association of Black Geologists, and more. And we do virtual outreach via over 170,000 emails per year to students in our National Student Directory. We've been growing and maintaining this directory since 2003, and currently it has over 60,000 records of current and former students, over 70% of whom are self-reported underrepresented minority students. Through our own outreach efforts and through data sharing partnerships, the directory is growing by 5,000 to 6,000 students per year. We tap the directory to send targeted messages to various groups of students with reminders about upcoming deadlines and with information that is relevant to them about funded STEM opportunities. So this chart, I know the fonts are a little small, but it shows a 4-month period from fall 2014 into 2015 that shows our outreach campaign at the bottom and the numbers of emails that we send and then the corresponding web traffic timeline. So you can see that there's a real link between our email outreach and the web traffic that we get. So we do these two things sort of hand in hand, and it's an integrated kind of strategy. And we mail to both students and faculty, especially faculty at minority serving institutions. And you can see the, you can see the correlation there between the two activities. As a result of our continued outreach, the traffic to our site has grown continually, and we now get peaks over 130,000 site visits per month at peak times of the year. And as you can see from the graphic, which shows the growth in the number of visitors to the Pathways site from 2003 to November 2014. So you can see the follow-on results of this website traffic is that we pass traffic on to program websites. What we're looking at here is just summer research program websites and hosted brochures, meaning that some websites or some programs don't have websites, fully featured websites, and so IBP will host their program brochures. And so we direct students to both of those places, either the program website or the program brochure. And you can see the results from similar time periods from September through February of 2015. And the most popular programs get up to a little over 1,200 of our IBP visitors are directed there, and all the way down. The median is around 180 visitors that get passed through to your program websites, and the total of over 95,000 click-throughs we think is pretty successful. So take advantage of all this outreach that we do, and take advantage of the web traffic that we get by posting your program or opportunity there. It's easy to post online. You can see the graphic that's up right now is on the faculty and admin page of our website, and there's a link circled in red there, which is guidelines for what we post, and also a link to a form that you can enter your program information into. What else? It's easy to post online, and it's also easy to update every year. So we send out annual reminders to program contacts to update their postings via a direct link to their online program form. So once your program is in there, it's pretty quick to update it. So now I'd like to turn it over to Liv, who will tell you about some of our online tools.
Great, thanks, Sig. Okay, so our recommendation number 2 is to tap our online search tools, our online professional development resources, and our webinars for your students. So we've done a lot of work creating and compiling some of these professional development resources because we know oftentimes program administrators don't have the time to do this, and we want to make it easy for people to incorporate some of this material into your program. Professional development is invaluable to retaining students in STEM, and it helps them succeed in their current endeavors and to progress in the STEM pipeline and prepare for the future. It really is about retention. So if you need professional development resources for your students, we'd encourage you to take and tap what's here and what works for your programs. So next slide. And so, for example, you can help your students find what comes next for them when they're looking at programs. So next year's summer research, potential graduate programs and graduate funding, professional development experiences, and even postdoc placements, all by using our search for a program function on the website. And next slide. This is just an example of a postcard that we hand out to students when we're face-to-face at outreach events, and it publicizes the basic search tool elements and the opportunities that we have on the site. We have, over 1,500 opportunities that you can search through, so there's likely something for everyone, and it's searchable by numerous different categories: discipline, keyword, institution, and many other criteria under an advanced search option that we'll demo here. Next slide. The other thing that we encourage students to do is that they can sign up online to receive, to join our National Student Directory, which you heard Sig talk about. As a member of that directory, they'll receive about, anywhere between probably 3 to 6 emails a year with targeted reminders about upcoming deadlines for programs and funding opportunities that are customized to their interests and their academic level. Signing up immediately puts resources into their hands. They will immediately get some targeted links, and then from there on out, they will receive some reminders from us. Just as an example, undergraduates will receive a reminder from us to start looking for summer research programs. We try to remind them around the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays when they have time to really sit down and start looking at programs. We also occasionally have faculty who are specifically looking to recruit for their program, their summer research program, their graduate program. In that case, we may query our directory for students that match the disciplinary interest, major, minor, and level of study that those faculty are looking for, and then in that case, that student would get some specific information about that single program. Next slide. Next slide, Sig. And the opportunities that we have posted on the site are associated with many different funding sources. We have a lot of NSF-funded programs, also NASA, NOAA, NIH, EPA, USDA, and some private foundation fellowships as well. Next slide.
So this is actually website search.
Okay, yep, right. So we're going to do a demo of the site, and we'll start out, I guess, with the basic search, which is just choosing a level of study and then choosing a disciplinary category. The other option would be to browse just by location. You can see the map peeking out from the bottom of the page there. SIG has undergraduate students in Earth and Environmental, and we'll see what that comes up with. And so that's a lot of results, 246 programs. So we also have this advanced search option. And that allows us to specify a bunch of different additional criteria. Just as an example, specific institution, upcoming deadlines, start and end dates of the program, international components like study abroad, citizenship requirements, whether the funding is fixed or portable, the specific funding source like NSF, or a specific program affiliation, such as like an NSF-RU. Again, you can select disciplines. You can also do keywords, which are just a little more specific in disciplines. So lots of options here to narrow down the search results. And then when you come up with a search result, each program itself has a brief description of the program. It'll have a link to the program's website, and that's how students, Sig talked about the click-through data, that's how students are getting to each program's website. There'll also be information on program dates, deadlines. We can host a brochure and contacts and even photos for the program. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, our search functions. We also offer a sort of a hub of professional development resources, which are captured in the resource library, we call it, which you can get to on the left-hand navigation bar. So that resource library is made up of our, what we call our toolbox, our diversity references library, our online mentoring manual, and our webinar archives. And we'll just go first to the toolbox. And in the toolbox, there are a bunch of handouts for students targeting different academic levels, high school to early career, that focus on some of the topics that we found students often need to hear about. So some of the examples there are the benefits of a summer research experience, discussing summer research with your family, getting strong letters of recommendation, what do you need to know about applying to grad school, the difference between undergrad and the grad experience. Then we have a few even that are focused on the postdoc experience, so negotiating a postdoc position, questions to ask when choosing a postdoc advisor. And again, our hope is that, we've compiled these materials so that everyone else doesn't necessarily have to, and we do find that this kind of information is invaluable to students. And we've even found ourselves kind of wishing that we had some of this information available to us when we were undergrads. So please take a look and make use of these if they could be helpful to you. And we're eager to hear if there are topics that you think we should be creating a resource handout for. Please let us know. We'd love to have suggestions on topics or suggestions on ways to improve these handouts that you might think of as you start using them with your students. Okay, and now I'm going to pass it back to Sig for our third and final recommendation.
Thanks, Liv. So the recommendation is to use our online resources to inform and grow your own recruitment and retention and partnership building efforts. There are a number of features on the site that are especially for faculty and administrators. Use them as you see fit. They're free. And they're good to give you ideas for strategies on best practices, to get deep information on certain topics, to diagnose, to support your peers as they learn about and get up to speed on diversity or mentoring or broadening participation. I'm just going to jump back to the website and try to navigate while I narrate. We were just in the resource toolbox. There's also a faculty column, which you probably noticed before. Here we have handouts for faculty, which are they're shorter, sort of hands-on guides and how-tos that are topic-based, covering topics like broadening participation in your program, growing the diversity awareness and cultural competency of faculty and partners, using social media to build diversity in your REU, and designing for success, which is about the positive factors that support student success in STEM pathways and reduce the barriers to participation. Diversity references. There we go. I just went back to the resource library to get to diversity references. From the references library page, you can access our diversity library, which is an annotated collection of peer-reviewed articles, seminal studies, and intervention studies related to broadening participation in STEM. We have marked with gold stars what we think are the must-read sources. And you can view sources categorized by topic area, which are right here at the top, ranging from demographic patterns to culturally reliable and valid program evaluation to establishing mutually beneficial partnerships. So jumping back to the resource library, we also have our mentoring manual. Mentoring has been shown to be a very important positive factor in student success. So important that to encourage sound mentoring practices and to help students take responsibility for being great mentees, we've put together an online mentoring manual with sections for students, for faculty and for program directors. And those categories are in this top menu bar. So you can see the topics that pertain mainly to faculty, or you can see the topics that we think undergrads ought to be reading to learn about mentoring, how mentoring can help them, and how to be a good mentee. So back to the resource library page. The partners directory, which is available on the left nav bar. It's a special tool for faculty on the site who are looking to identify contacts for networking or to find partners in diversity, whether on your own campus or at other institutions. The Partners Directory is a database of over 14,000 faculty and staff contacts at STEM programs across the country, including, among others, NSF, AGEP, Advance, HBCU, UP, IGERT, LSAMP, REU, STC, and TCUP, as well as programs and departments at community colleges, historically Black colleges and universities, Hispanic serving institutions, and tribal colleges and universities. So you can sort by a number of variables to find people either in your area or in your program area or in your discipline to share ideas and to ask questions. So lastly, I want to bring your attention to a final resource, which is Ask IBP. We have staff and people who have been doing this for a long time. So if we can't answer your questions, we can likely direct you to colleagues and associates who can or who have experience in the area that you're asking about. So we can give you customized input and recommendations about broadening participation issues specific to your program, and we'd love to talk to you. So always feel free to give us a call or drop us an email. So with that, we've come to the end of our sort of introduction to IBP's broadening participation resources. And you can see everything we've covered from posting your program to resources for students and resources for faculty. So all that we've presented should give you a good sense of the kinds of resources IBP provides and the activities we conduct to help students and assist faculty. We conduct a lot of evaluation of our efforts, but there are some things you can do to help. Those of you involved in summer research have most likely received our annual survey request, and we really appreciate your help in assessing IBP's impact. But in addition to answering any of the surveys that we send in order to better understand how we're doing and how we can do what we do better to serve you, you can just send us your feedback on any of our resources on our website or services we provide, and give us ideas or information that will tell us where the needs are as you see it, or how we can better help you in your efforts. Another way is by asking applicants, if you don't already, how they heard about your program, and by listing IBP's website as a selectable choice on the application, and letting us know when you do your own evaluation of your application process, whether IBP was a factor in a student choosing to apply to your program. So we're committed to developing and evolving our strategies to attract and support students on their STEM pathways. And the more feedback and information we gather about our efforts, the better we'll be able to serve you and your students.